The last 24 hours have been some of the craziest and most disturbing in many ways in the sort of news cycle that we've seen in weeks. And we're going to talk about the Sean Hannity text messages. We're going to talk about the Trump riot anniversary and Donald Trump canceling his press conference scheduled for tomorrow. But before we do any of that, I have what is one of the wildest interviews that I have seen, certainly in months. It is an interview that took place on MSNBC. Host Ari Melber interviewed Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro was Donald Trump's assistant. He was assistant to the president for a period of time. He was Trump's director of trade and manufacturing policy. He was the National Defense Production Act policy coordinator. And he is freely admitting that he was one of the planners of the attempted coup to steal an election that Donald Trump didn't win. I don't think we need really more introduction. I'm just going to get right into the material. Peter Navarro admits to the entire thing here. And it is, let's just get into the clips because there's just so much. This first clip is kind of the backstory. Why did Peter Navarro start developing with Trump this plan for a coup? Well, it was all based on false beliefs / lies / misunderstandings / distortions. Let's start right there.
Sure. The backstory is while I was in the administration after the election, beginning on Thanksgiving, I produced what would be an exhaustive 3-volume report. I went over tens of thousands of pages of documents and proved that the election was in all likelihood stolen through fraud and election irregularities. That's the background. On January 6th, the Green Bay sweep plan.
That's false. But the question for the start of the interview. Yes, it is fine. But the question for the start of the interview
now,
is.
Navarro says we'll disagree about whether the election really was or wasn't stolen. You have to put aside the disagreement to proceed. And Ari Melber ultimately does it. But everything is predicated on that. And so it's sort of the crucial point that that entire premise was untrue. Let's continue.
I just want to make sure here that we're kind of going by rules of the road. The question is, and you'll get time to talk.
You got to say that. And what I'm saying is that
I don't have to say anything, sir. I'm asking you. The question is, what was the plan itself and who was in on it?
Right.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you that. The plan was simply this. We had over 100 congressmen and senators on Capitol Hill ready to implement the sweep. The sweep was simply that. We were going to challenge the results of the election in the 6 battleground states. They were Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Nevada. And basically, these were the places where we believed that if the votes were sent back to those battleground states and looked at again, that there would be enough concern amongst the legislatures that most or all of those states would decertify the election.
Now, of course, that wasn't true. It didn't happen. There was no such evidence. But this is the same plan that was written up in the memo by Trump's lawyer. So it's all coherent. There's no doubt as to whether that was the plan. It was.
That would throw the election to the House of Representatives. And I would say to you here, Ari, that all of this, again, it was in the lanes legally. It was prescribed by the Constitution. There is a provision to go rather than through the Electoral College to the House of Representatives. And all this required was peace and calm on Capitol Hill. And at 1 p.m., Senator Ted Cruz and Gosar, a representative, started the Green Bay sweep beautifully.
So the premise here is, had it not been for the riots, they would have had a shot at carrying this plan forward, which is a new way that they are sort of denouncing some of them are pretending there were no riots. Some of them are arguing that the riots were peaceful. In one sense, the riots were part of the plan as far as Trump was concerned. But some of these people who had what they thought was a more clever way to steal the election are saying, actually, the violence got in the way because it interrupted what we were going to do, have Pence reject electors, etc. Now we get to just an incredible part where Ari Melber straight up says to Navarro, you're describing a coup. Do you realize that? Take a look at this incredible video.
Rather than through the Electoral College to the House of Representatives. And all this required was peace and calm on Capitol Hill. And at 1 p.m., Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, and Gosar, a representative, started the Green Bay sweep beautifully, challenging the results of Arizona. Here's the most important thing I can tell you about this. The thing that we were trying to deal with was a media which refused to acknowledge any kind of possible fraud or irregularities.
Right. And well, let's get into it. I've given you, Peter, I've given you some time here, and I think you've explained that, and I'm going to follow up here, and I want us to have a back and forth, but that involves both of us. You just described you just described this plan as a way to take an election where the outcome was established by independent secretaries of state, by the voters of those states, and legal remedies have been exhausted with the Supreme Court never even taking, let alone siding with, any of the claims that you just referred to. So legally, they went nowhere. And then you're describing a way that the incumbent... Hold on. You will get your turn. I just let you go for a while. Let's go this back and forth, sir. Then you will use the incumbent losing party's power, that was the Republican Party that was losing power, to overtake and reverse that outcome. Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No, I totally reject many of your premises there. First of all, the election was still in doubt and would be until it was certified. Second, the idea...
Now, that isn't... You cannot ever satisfy that, because he is saying the election is in doubt until it's certified, but his plan was to prevent its certification based on alleged doubts that he is raising. That can never be satisfied. You can never satisfy that. And Ari Melber is pointing out the crucial part. All of these independent things, individual secretaries of state in different states, many Republicans said there isn't evidence for this. So you check that off the list. Courts threw out, I think it was 63 different complaints that were made. Maybe one was sort of provisionally accepted on theoretical grounds, but courts did not find that their claims were with merit. The Supreme Court declined to take it up. So at a certain point, you can't say we are acting on the basis of X that justifies it, because every legal and sensible empirical remedy had been exhausted and had been rejected. And then he says, well, until it's certified, then it is in doubt. But you're the one preventing its certification. It's a circle.
That secretaries of state, particularly in Michigan and Pennsylvania, were like innocent parties. I mean, Jocelyn Benson and Kathy Bookfar, the secretaries of state in Michigan and Pennsylvania, they were put in power by George Soros for the express purpose of shifting the playing field.
Wow. So then lastly here, why wasn't Navarro more involved in pushing Mike Pence to do the thing they wanted him to do? Remember, Trump wanted Pence to reject this and to stop that and to seat a different slate of electors. And Navarro seems to say he was basically kept away from Mike Pence.
Conversation.
Why wouldn't he listen to you, do you think? Why wouldn't he listen to you?
Well, I talk about it in the In Trump Time book. His chief of staff, Mark Short, who is a Koch network conservative, meaning that he's a never Trumper, basically walled off Vice President Pence from the day Mark took chief of staff's duties back in 2018. And it was a sad story. Mike was always good to me until that day. The thing about Mike's betrayal of President Trump, which is really interesting, is he never shared the legal analysis of his general counsel, Greg Japin, and Mark Short with Pat.
But again, that really, Peter, that brings us back. That brings us back to the same point, and this may be relevant, sir, in future elections, which is, don't you think somebody would have thought of this if the incumbent administration, through the president or the vice president, could just cancel the election outcome because he goes down to the Senate? Well, then a lot of people would try to stay in power. We have an entire system designed to thwart, and I want to say this respectfully, but it's the truth, people like you, to stop people like you who think that you can anoint yourself the reviewers of the voters, of the American people, of what they lawfully did, that you trumped the Supreme Court, no pun intended. People like you are what the Constitution are designed to stop, and it worked, and it did stop you, which I guess brings us to,
Incredible. I mean, truly incredible. He's admitting to the entire thing, and it was all based on their opinion, which was rejected or not corroborated by every Secretary of State that was pulled into it, by every court that was pulled into it. And ultimately, the Supreme Court saying there's not even anything here for us, opting not to take this up, despite having 3 justices on it selected by Donald Trump. This is Exhibit A evidence, admitting to the entire thing, pulling together every aspect of it. Every aspect of it. It's incredible. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it. But I know you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.